A black man pulls a Rolls-Royce into a driveway. His driveway. His car. Harold Brennan dials 911. A black man is stealing a Rolls-Royce. 852 Briarwood Lane, right now. Isaiah Harrington steps out. "Sir, I live here." "Shut up, thief." Harold's face twists with certainty. "You people don't belong here. A black man in a Rolls-Royce in this neighborhood. You're either a thief or a drug dealer. Which is it?" Sandra Keller screams from across the street. "He's robbing us!" Preston Harlan blocks the driveway. "Don't move, boy." Neighbors flood the lawn, phones out, live streaming, laughing. Look at him pretending it's his. This is what happens when they move in. 15,000 people are already watching. No one asks his name. No one checks the mailbox. Just another black man in the wrong car, on the wrong street, with the wrong skin. Isaiah Harrington stands still and says nothing. Because in the hours ahead, every person here will learn exactly who they called a thief. Some mistakes can't be undone. The afternoon sun catches the hood of the $450,000 car. Behind a curtain, a hand reaches for a phone. Isaiah Harrington parks the Rolls-Royce Cullinan in his garage the way he has done so many times before. Engine off. Deep breath. Home. The Georgia heat presses against the windshield. Isaiah loosens his tie, the same tie he wore through 3 investor meetings that finally closed after 18 months of work. He is 38 years old, founder and CEO of Harrington FinTech. 15 million in annual revenue. 60 employees who depend on his decisions. Atlanta Business Chronicle that named him one of their 40 under 42 years earlier. The plaque hangs in his downtown office next to another he values even more. Community Partner of the Year, Briarwood Police Foundation. Isaiah has donated $500,000 to local law enforcement over 3 years, youth basketball leagues, the community center on 5th Street, officer wellness programs. He believes in building bridges. He believes in showing up. What he doesn't advertise is his seat on the board of Whitfield Industries, the aerospace and defense manufacturer with 3,000 employees whose headquarters sits 40 minutes from this driveway. Isaiah joined the board 5 years ago after helping them through a difficult public relations crisis. They remember. The gold cuff links with the Whitfield logo catch the garage light. His 10-year board service gift. He wears them out of habit. The house cost $1.6 million 3 years ago. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a kitchen. Lena designed herself. Isaiah and his wife are one of 2 black families in Briarwood Estates. 89 households. They knew the math when they moved in. They made their choice anyway. Inside, the smart home system hums quietly. The Ring doorbell at the front and the cameras covering the driveway were Lena's idea. After a package went missing their first month, Isaiah thought it was overkill. Today that doorbell will capture everything in 4K with crystal audio and automatic cloud backup. His phone buzzes. A text from Lena. "At Mom's with Maya, back by dinner. Rest up. Love you." Isaiah smiles. Rest sounds perfect. Through the garage's side window, he notices movement. The neighbor across the street. Older man. White hair. Always watching. Harold Brennan. Retired after 31 years in the neighborhood. He runs the community watch, very involved. Isaiah has lived here 3 years. Harold has never waved. Never introduced himself. Never acknowledged Isaiah exists except to stare. Today Harold stands at his window, phone in hand. Isaiah doesn't think much of it. Old habits. He grabs his suitcase from the trunk. The leather feels familiar. The crunch of gravel under his shoes sounds like home. 2 houses down, a young neighbor, Trevor Hale, always filming something for the internet, waves from his lawn. Isaiah waves back. Nice kid. Harmless. Somewhere in the distance, a lawnmower hums. Sprinklers hiss across manicured grass. A dog barks once, then stops. Briarwood Estates. Peaceful, expensive, safe. Isaiah rolls his suitcase toward the door that leads into his kitchen. His kitchen. in his house that he owns. He doesn't see Harold Brennan punch 3 numbers into his phone. He doesn't hear the words, 911. Yes, I'd like to report a suspicious person. The call connects. Harold Brennan has watched this street for 31 years. He knows every car, every routine, every face that belongs. The black man with the Rolls-Royce does not belong. Harold is certain. 911. Yes, I'd like to report a suspicious person. Black male, late 30s, just pulled a Rolls-Royce into 852 Briarwood Lane. There's no way that car is his. Probably stolen. He's going into the garage now. You need to send someone quick. The dispatcher asks clarifying questions. Harold answers with impatience. I've lived here 31 years. I know what doesn't fit. Just send someone. He hangs up satisfied. But Harold is nothing if not thorough. He calls Preston Harlan, the neighbor 2 doors down, a sales vice president at a tech company. Reliable, a fellow watcher. Preston, look outside, 852. The black guy with the rolls, I just called the cops. Preston peers through his blinds. Expensive car, black man, doesn't compute. I'll call too, confirm it. A second 911 call is logged minutes later. Hi, I'm calling to confirm a report that was just made. The suspicious vehicle at 852 Briarwood Lane. I can see him too. Definitely doesn't look right. You should hurry. 2 calls. 2 concerned citizens protecting their community. Sandra Keller appears next, walking her designer dog. Harold waves her over. Sandra, we've got a situation. Sandra looks toward 852. Her eyes widen. Oh my God, in our neighborhood. She doesn't call 911. She does something worse. She positions herself across the street, visible, watching, judging. She pulls out her phone and texts 3 neighbors. Someone's breaking into 852. Police coming. 3 neighbors, 3 decisions. A coalition of assumption. Harold feels good about this. Righteous even. This is what community watch means. This is vigilance. While waiting, he chats with Preston. My son Brian's doing well, Harold mentions, filling time. Corporate job, good company, Whitfield Industries. Whitfield, Preston nods. Solid company, good benefits. I put in 20 years there before I retired. Pension's comfortable. Harold has no idea that the man in the garage, the man he just reported as a thief, sits on Whitfield's board of directors. Inside 852 Briarwood Lane, Isaiah Harrington is oblivious. He's texting Lena. Home, going to shower, see you in a few hours. Then he hears tires on asphalt. Fast, multiple vehicles. He looks out the garage window. 2 police cruisers, 4 officers, no sirens, tactical approach, hands near holsters. Sir, step out of the garage, hands where we can see them. Isaiah freezes, processes, understands. He steps out slowly, hands raised, suitcase forgotten. Officers, this is my home. I live here. Officer Vance Harlan keeps his hand on his weapon. Young, nervous. We received multiple calls about a stolen vehicle. Sir, step away from the car. Isaiah's eyes scan the street. Harold on his lawn, arms crossed. Preston nearby, nodding. Sandra across the street, phone out, recording for her text chain. 3 neighbors watching, waiting for validation. Sandra's voice carries. That's not his car. I've never seen him before. Isaiah keeps his voice level. Ma'am, I've lived here 3 years. I would have remembered, she says. She wouldn't have. She's never looked. Trevor Hale has appeared on his lawn. Phone up, camera rolling. Yo, something's happening on my street, he murmurs into his live stream. Viewers are climbing. Officer Harlan takes a step forward. Sir, we're going to need to see some identification. Isaiah nods slowly. My wallet is in my back pocket. I'm going to reach for it slowly. His hand moves. Sergeant Bryce Keller steps out of the second cruiser. He looks at Isaiah Harrington. stops cold. His face changes, and Harold Brennan's perfect afternoon is about to become his worst nightmare. Sergeant Bryce Keller is 45 years old, 22 years on the force. He's met a lot of people in Briarwood County. He's met Isaiah Harrington. Wait! Keller's voice cuts through the tension. Mr. Harrington. Isaiah Harrington. Officer Harlan's hand hovers near his holster. Sarge, stand down. We got 2 separate calls. I know who this is, Keller says. He is already moving, posture shifting from tactical to apologetic. Mr. Harrington, sir, I am so sorry about this. Harold Brennan watches from his lawn. He can't hear the words, but he sees the body language transform. Officers who arrived with hands on weapons are now deferential, almost embarrassed. Something is wrong, something Harold didn't anticipate. Keller speaks quietly to Harlan. This is Isaiah Harrington. Harrington FinTech. The community center on 5th Street. The Youth Basketball League. He's donated more to this department than everyone on this street combined. Harold approaches, still confident, still righteous. Officers, thank you for responding so quickly. I knew something was off about. Keller turns. His expression is ice. Sir, you called police on a man standing in his own driveway. I didn't know. You didn't ask. Silence. Harold's mouth works, but nothing comes out. Isaiah speaks. Voice calm, controlled, quiet power. Officer, I have my license, registration, and house deed inside. Would you like to verify? Keller shakes his head. That won't be necessary, Mr. Harrington. We're done here. He turns to Harlan. Apologize to Mr. Harrington. Harlan straightens. Sir, I'm sorry. We were just responding to... Isaiah holds up a hand. I know you were doing your job. His eyes move across the street. Harold, Preston, Sandra. They made the calls. The word calls lands plural. Harold feels Preston shift beside him. Isaiah looks directly at Harold Brennan for the first time. Brennan, right? Harold Brennan. Harold blinks. Yes? How do you... Retired from Whitfield Industries, correct? Harold puffs slightly. Pride overriding caution. 30 years. Good company. It is, Isaiah says. His voice doesn't waver. I sit on the board. Have for 5 years. The color drains from Harold's face like someone pulled a plug. Isaiah continues, almost gentle. You have a son there, don't you? Brian Brennan. Middle management. Harold can barely speak. How do you... Small company, Mr. Brennan. I know most of the leadership team. A pause. And their families. Harold's brain is spinning. Board member, son's company, pension fund, everything connected, everything vulnerable. Isaiah offers a small, terrible smile. Small world. Preston. Harlan heard everything. His face has gone gray. He made the second call. His name is on the record. His voice is on the recording. He takes a step backward, then another. Then he is walking fast toward his house, pretending he was never there. Sandra Keller is already gone, speed walking down the sidewalk, phone pressed to her ear, playing innocent. The coalition dissolves in seconds. Isaiah turns back to the officers. Just so you know, my Ring doorbell recorded this entire incident. Audio and video, 4K. Keller nods. Understood, sir. Harold feels his stomach drop. Everything documented. Everything permanent. Trevor Hale's live stream has exploded. Comments flood in. Who is this guy? The way that old dude's face just fell. Isaiah straightens his tie, brushes invisible dust from his sleeve. Mr. Brennan, I'm going to go inside now. Hug my daughter when she gets home. Have dinner with my family in my house that I own next to the car that I own. He pauses. You have a good evening. The door closes. Soft click. Harold Brennan stands alone on his perfect lawn. The police cruisers pull away. One officer glances back through the window. not with respect, with disgust. Preston is gone. Sandra is gone. The neighbors who gathered have melted behind curtains. Harold looks down at his phone. The same phone he held minutes ago. So certain, so righteous, dialing 911 to protect his community. His hand is shaking. He walks back to his house on legs that don't feel like his own. Opens the door, steps inside. Barbara looks up from the kitchen. "Harold, what happened? I saw the police." Harold doesn't answer. Can't answer. He closes the door, leans against it, slides down until he is sitting on his own floor. The phone in his hand feels like a weapon. A grenade he already threw. And Harold Brennan feels it, the regret. Instant, total, crushing. Not because he is sorry for what he did, not yet. That understanding will come later. Because he is sorry he got caught. Sorry the man he targeted turned out to matter. Sorry he didn't get away with it this time. 31 years of watching this neighborhood. 31 years of deciding who belongs. And in one phone call, Harold Brennan has become the one who doesn't belong. He knows it. He feels it in his chest, in his stomach, in the shaking that won't stop. The regret is instant. The consequences will arrive soon enough. But sitting on his floor staring at nothing, Harold already understands. He has lost everything. He just doesn't know how much everything means yet. By the next morning, millions of people will see what Harold Brennan did. Within days, his neighbors will stop returning his calls. And, before the week is out, his own son will denounce him publicly. The videos hit the internet within hours. Isaiah Harrington posts the Ring doorbell footage with no commentary, no hashtags, just, "This is what happened in my driveway today." 4K resolution. Perfect audio. Harold's face clearly visible. Sandra's voice carrying across the street. "That's not his car." The police shifting from aggressive to apologetic in real time. By midnight, millions of views. Trevor Hale's live stream archives separately. He captured the incident from a different angle. Harold's confident approach. The conversation Isaiah couldn't hear. The moment Harold's face crumbled. Tens of thousands watched it live. By morning, the archived version has millions more. 2 angles, 1 story, no room for doubt. The internet does what the internet does. By the next morning, Harold Brennan has been identified. Full name, address, employment history, LinkedIn profile screenshotted before he can delete it. Retired from Whitfield Industries after 30 years. Someone cross-references and finds Brian Brennan, middle manager at Whitfield Industries for 8 years. Finds Isaiah Harrington, board member at Whitfield Industries for 5 years. The connection clicks. A Twitter thread goes viral. Harold Brennan retired from Whitfield. His son works there. Isaiah Harrington sits on the board. This man just called cops on his son's boss's boss. Hundreds of thousands of retweets. Preston Harlan is identified next. Sales vice president at Kendrick Technologies, 25 years with the company. Second 911 caller. Voice on the recording. Sandra Keller, local realtor. Her Zillow profile surfaces, her face in the video yelling accusations. By noon the next day, all 3 names trend across Georgia. By evening nationally. Hashtag Briarwood Karen. Hashtag Justice for Isaiah. Hashtag 3 calls, 3 lives. Harold deletes his Facebook. Too late. Screenshots everywhere. His last post before deletion. "I was trying to protect the neighborhood." Comment section. 1,400 responses. None sympathetic. Preston Harlan goes private on all platforms. His company's HR department is already fielding calls. Sandra Keller's real estate website crashes from traffic. Her Google reviews, previously strong, plummet as new entries flood in. Isaiah Harrington posts one brief statement. "I'm grateful no one was hurt. I hope this becomes a learning moment for everyone involved." Measured, gracious, no demands for blood, no threats. It makes him more sympathetic. It makes the 3 neighbors look worse. Local news picks up the story that evening. The investigative reporter leads with it. Briarwood man calls police on neighbor, discovers he's a major police donor. Discovers The donor angle lands hard. $500,000 to law enforcement, youth programs, community centers, and still hands-on holsters ordered him to the ground. What chance does anyone else have? National outlets circle by the next morning. CNN requests an interview. MSNBC reaches out. Even attempts at both sides satisfy no one. Harold Brennan hasn't left his house since the incident. Curtains drawn, phone ringing constantly. He doesn't answer. Barbara moves into the guest bedroom that night. She doesn't explain, doesn't need to. Preston Harlan's wife calls him a liability. He sleeps on the couch. Sandra Keller cancels 3 showings. Buyers are concerned about the publicity. 3 phone calls, 3 lives unraveling. And the internet isn't done digging, not even close. Someone files an expedited records request for Harold Brennan's complete 911 call history. Public record available within days. Someone else starts researching Briarwood police response times, patterns, priorities. The machinery of accountability has engaged. It doesn't stop. It doesn't sleep. Preston Harlan walks into his office the next morning, believing he can survive this. He's been with Kendrick Technologies for 25 years. Vice President of Sales. Excellent numbers. One mistake shouldn't erase that. His boss, the Chief Revenue Officer, is already waiting in the conference room. HR is there. Legal is there. The energy in the room is terminal. We've seen the video, the CRO says. We've heard the 911 call. Preston opens his mouth. I can explain. You identified yourself as confirming the first caller. You said, and I quote, "Definitely doesn't look right," about a man standing in his own driveway. Preston is told he represents the brand. Clients are asking if the company supports racial profiling. Partners are distancing. The diversity and inclusion team has been in crisis meetings for 2 days straight. A document slides across the table. Termination effective immediately. Conduct unbecoming of company values. Preston stares at the paper. 25 years. Corner office. Stock options. All of it gone. You'll be escorted out. Your personal items will be shipped. 45 minutes later, Preston Harlan stands in the parking lot holding a cardboard box. Security badge surrendered. Email access revoked. 25 years ended in less than 2 days. Across town, Sandra Keller answers her phone. Hi, Sandra. This is Jennifer Morrison. We were scheduled to look at properties this week. Sandra forces brightness into her voice. Jennifer. Yes. I have 3 wonderful listings ready for... We've decided to go with another agent. Pause. May I ask why? We saw the video, Sandra. The things you said, we wouldn't feel comfortable. Click. Second call. Same result. Third call. We're going in a different direction. By evening, Sandra has lost 5 clients and 2 pending sales. Combined commission, roughly $60,000, evaporated. Her Zillow reviews continue to plummet. New entries appear hourly. Would Sandra call the cops on black families viewing houses? Not worth the risk. 1 star. How can we trust her judgment when she couldn't even recognize her own neighbor? 1 star. Saw the video. Saw her face. Heard her voice. Never using her. 1 star. Sandra stops checking her reviews. The damage is done. Harold Brennan's reckoning arrives via certified mail that afternoon. The envelope bears the logo of Whitfield Industries Pension Administration. His hands shake opening it. Dear Mr. Brennan, it has come to our attention that your recent conduct may constitute a violation of the pension fund's Standards of Conduct Clause. Your benefits are hereby suspended, pending a formal review. You will be contacted within 30 days regarding the investigation process. Harold reads it 3 times. The words don't change. His pension, frozen. The money he worked 30 years to earn, locked. He calls the pension office. Automated system. No humans available. Leave a message. He calls his old HR contact at Whitfield. She answers, but her voice is cold. Harold, I don't know what to tell you. You called the police on a board member. What did you expect would happen? I didn't know. You didn't ask. That's the problem. She hangs up. Harold sits alone in his kitchen. No income. No pension. No answers. Barbara appears in the doorway. She's been watching. Listening. Who was that? Whitfield, they've frozen my pension. Barbara closes her eyes, takes a breath. Harold, what have you done to us? He has no answer. That evening, Brian Brennan calls. Harold's son, the one still employed at Whitfield, for now. Dad. Brian's voice is tight, controlled, barely. Son, listen, I can explain. Explain what? Explain how you called the cops on a man who sits on my company's board. Explain how my co-workers are asking if I'm related to that Harold Brennan. Explain how I can't get a meeting with my own supervisor anymore. Brian, I didn't know who he was. You didn't care who he was. You saw a black man with an expensive car, and you assumed. And now everyone at Whitfield knows. Everyone knows my father is the guy from the video. Silence on the line. Dad, do you understand what this could do to me? I've worked here 8 years. 8 years of building relationships, building trust, and now I'm toxic. People cross the hallway to avoid me. Isaiah Harrington won't do anything to me, but it doesn't matter. The damage is done by you. Brian takes a ragged breath. I have to go. Don't call me for a while. I need to figure out how to survive this. Click. Harold sets the phone down slowly. His son, his only son, won't speak to him. The house feels enormous, empty. Barbara has retreated upstairs. The television is off. No noise, just the clock ticking. Harold Brennan made one phone call to protect his community. In the days that followed, he lost his pension security, his neighbors' respect, his wife's trust, his son's love, and he still doesn't fully understand why. He still thinks he was right to call, still thinks he was being careful, still thinks anyone would have done the same. But somewhere beneath the justifications, beneath the denials, a small voice whispers, "You knew what you were doing. You knew exactly what you were doing." He pushes it down. He's not ready to hear it yet. Isaiah Harrington, meanwhile, eats dinner with his family that evening. Lena made his favorite grilled salmon and roasted vegetables. Maya chatters about summer activities. Normal evening, normal life. What's happening to them? Lena asks quietly after Maya leaves the table. Consequences, Isaiah says. Do you feel bad? Isaiah considers the question. Really considers it. I didn't make any calls, didn't demand any firings, didn't ask the pension office to investigate. He sets down his fork. I just existed in my own driveway. Everything that's happening to them, they did to themselves. Lena nods slowly. And the son, Brian, if he does good work, he'll be fine. I'm not in the business of punishing people for their parents' sins. Isaiah pauses. Harold is. That's the difference. Outside, the Georgia evening settles warm and quiet over Briarwood Estates. Sprinklers hiss. Birds settle into trees. The neighborhood looks exactly as it always has. But something has shifted, something permanent, and the internet still isn't done digging. Harold Brennan made one phone call. In the days that followed, he lost his pension, his son's respect, and his wife's trust. If you've ever watched karma work in real time, you know this feeling. A Twitter user posts a link the next morning. A local news article from a couple of years earlier. Headline, Briarwood teen shot by police after 911 call. The caller's name was never released until now. The link spreads like fire through dry grass. Local news story from a couple of years earlier. Briarwood teen shot by police after 911 call. Investigation finds no wrongdoing. A 19-year-old named Desmond Carter, waiting for an Uber after a tutoring session. Standing on a street corner, 2 blocks from Harold Brennan's house. Someone called 911. Suspicious teenager acting nervous, might be casing houses. Police arrived. Desmond, who has a documented anxiety disorder, panicked. He ran. An officer fired 2 rounds back and leg. Desmond Carter survived. Barely. T10 spinal injury. complete paralysis below the waist. Permanent. The original article didn't name the caller. Privacy protections, standard procedure. But the internet has no privacy protections. And the internet has Harold Brennan's 911 call history. Someone cross-references dates. A couple of years earlier, Harold made a call. Someone cross-references locations, 2 blocks from Harold's house. Someone cross-references language, suspicious, nervous, casing. The same words, the same assumptions, the same caller. Harold Brennan's call put a 19-year-old in a wheelchair, and nothing happened to him. The story explodes. #justice for Isaiah becomes #justice for Desmond. The narrative expands. The investigative reporter has been working this angle. She confirms the connection. I can now report that the same 911 caller, Harold Brennan, made the call that led to the shooting of Desmond Carter a couple of years ago. Brennan has made 7 calls about suspicious individuals over 3 years. All 7 calls were about black people. 0 resulted in actual crimes. 1 resulted in a young man losing the ability to walk. 7 calls, 7 black people, 0 crimes, 1 wheelchair. Desmond Carter agrees to an interview from his wheelchair in the small apartment he shares with his mother. I was 19, he says. His voice is steady, but his hands grip the armrests tight. I was waiting for my ride home from tutoring. SAT prep. I was trying to get into college. He pauses. Now, I'll never walk again. And until this week, I didn't even know who called. I didn't know his name. I didn't know he was still out there watching, calling, waiting for the next person who doesn't fit. Gloria Carter, Desmond's mother, sits beside him. She hasn't spoken publicly in 2 years. She speaks now. My son had a full scholarship to Georgia State. Engineering, gone. We've got hundreds of thousands in medical debt. I work 2 jobs. He needs care I can't afford. She looks directly into the camera. And Harold Brennan. He went home to his nice house and his nice pension and kept calling the police on people for 2 more years until he finally picked the wrong person. Isaiah Harrington sees the interview. He contacts Desmond through his attorney, offers to help cover legal costs, offers to connect him with resources. Desmond's response: all I wanted was for someone to care, someone to see me. Thank you for seeing me. Isaiah's reply is simple. People see you now. A lot of people. The record's results arrive the next day. Harold Brennan's complete 911 call history. 7 calls. The pattern is undeniable. A couple of years earlier. Suspicious vehicle. Black delivery driver. No crime. A couple of years earlier. Suspicious teenager. Desmond Carter. Shot. A couple of years earlier. Possible break-in. Curtis Webb. Black contractor checking a wrong address. Detained 20 minutes. No crime. Last year. Unfamiliar person. Denise Foster. Black real estate agent showing a house. Questioned, no crime. Earlier this year. Littering. Black teenager waiting for his mother. No crime. This year. Suspicious activity. Black landscaping crew working. No crime. This year. Isaiah Harrington. Own driveway. Own car. Own house. 7 calls. All black individuals. 0 crimes. 1 shattered spine. 1 destroyed family. 1 man who kept calling. Harold Brennan's attorney releases a statement that evening. Mr. Brennan exercised his right as a citizen to report concerns to law enforcement. The decisions made by police officers are not his responsibility. He maintains that he acted in good faith to protect his community. The statement convinces no one. CNN picks up the story. MSNBC runs a segment. Even outlets that usually seek both sides can't find a sympathetic angle. Curtis Webb comes forward. He reported me a couple of years ago. I was checking an address for a job. Wrong house. Honest mistake. I was detained for 20 minutes while they verified my contractor's license. Denise Foster comes forward. He followed me while I showed a house, called me suspicious for doing my job. I lost that client. 3 voices, then 4, then 5. Harold Brennan isn't one angry neighbor. He's a pattern, a system of one. And now everyone knows. Harold Brennan decides to fight back. He hires a defense attorney with experience in defamation cases. Expensive. Harold uses savings he was protecting for emergencies. This qualifies. The strategy: counter-sue. Claim harassment, claim defamation. Paint Harold as the victim of an online mob. The press release goes out exactly 1 week after the incident. Gerald Brennan is a victim of coordinated online harassment and false accusations. He exercised his constitutional right to report suspicious activity to law enforcement. The resulting media frenzy has destroyed his reputation through lies and distortion. Legal action will be pursued against all parties responsible. Harold feels good about this, finally fighting back, finally standing up for himself. The reaction is immediate and brutal. Legal experts appear on cable news within hours. Defamation requires falsehood. Everything circulating online is true. There's video, there's audio, there are 911 recordings. This lawsuit is dead on arrival. You cannot defame someone with their own words. This is a desperate move that will only draw more attention to Mr. Brennan's conduct. The internet responds with mockery. Screenshots of the press release become memes. Harold Brennan claims he's the victim. Trends for hours. More victims surface. A housekeeper. He reported me a couple of years ago for looking suspicious while I waited for my employer to come home. A jogger. He called me unfamiliar for running through the neighborhood. I've lived here longer than he has. Each story adds to the pattern. Each voice makes Harold smaller. By the next day, the attorney calls a meeting. Harold, we need to talk about reality. What reality? The reality that this lawsuit will not succeed. The reality that pursuing it will keep your name in the news for months. The reality that every day this continues, more people will come forward. Harold shakes his head. I'm not giving up. I'm not admitting I did anything wrong. You don't have to admit anything. You just have to stop making it worse. So what do I do? The attorney sighs. Honestly, I don't have a good answer. The video exists. The calls exist. The pattern exists. No jury will side with you. No judge will entertain this. He pauses. Have you considered selling the house? Moving somewhere fresh? Harold stares at him. I've lived here 31 years. And in 1 week, you've undone all of it. That's the reality, Harold. I'm sorry. Harold returns home to an empty feeling. Barbara has said barely 10 words to him since the incident. She sleeps in the guest room, eats alone, avoids his eyes. That night, she sits him down. Harold, I've stood by you for 35 years through everything, but I cannot stand by this. Barbara, that video, those calls, that boy in the wheelchair. Her voice breaks slightly. I didn't marry a man who does this. Harold reaches for her hand. She pulls away. Fix this! Find a way, or I'm leaving! She walks upstairs. The door closes. Harold sits alone in the living room. No television. No phone. Just silence and the slow understanding that everything he built is crumbling. And he still doesn't fully believe he deserved it. Harold Brennan hired a lawyer, filed a countersuit, called himself the victim. It lasted 4 days before his own attorney told him to give up. If you've ever watched someone dig their hole deeper, you know this feeling. Stay with me, because the worst call Harold will receive isn't from his attorney. It's from his son. Brian Brennan calls the next morning. His voice sounds nothing like Harold's son. Dad, I need you to listen. Brian, what's happening? I've been put on performance review, effective immediately. Harold's stomach drops. What? You've had excellent reviews for 8 years. 8 years of excellent reviews, and suddenly, Friday afternoon, HR calls me in. Concerns about my continued fit with company culture. That's the phrase they used. That's because of me. Of course it's because of you. Brian's voice cracks. Everyone at Whitfield knows. Everyone saw the video. Everyone knows my father called the cops on a board member. Isaiah Harrington won't do anything, but it doesn't matter. I'm toxic by association. People don't return my emails. My own team avoids eye contact. I'm being pushed out, Dad. Slowly, quietly, professionally. Harold grips the phone. I'll call someone. I'll explain. Explain what? That you didn't know who he was? That you only profile strangers, not important people? Brian laughs bitterly. There's nothing to explain, Dad. There's just damage. Silence on the line. I've been thinking about this all weekend, Brian continues. About what to do, about how to survive. Brian, I never meant... I know what you meant, Dad. That's the problem. You meant exactly what you did. You saw a black man who looked too successful, and you decided he didn't belong. You've been doing it for years. I just never thought it would come back on me. Harold has no response. I'm going to release a statement today, publicly. What kind of statement? One that separates me from you. One that says your views don't represent mine. One that might save my career. Brian, you can't. I have to. I have kids, Dad. I have a mortgage. I can't lose this job because you couldn't mind your own business. Brian takes a breath. Don't call me for a while. Maybe a long while. I need distance from you. From this. From all of it. Son. Goodbye, Dad. Click. Harold sits with the dead phone in his hand. His son, his only child, gone. Brian Brennan's LinkedIn statement posts at noon. My father's actions do not represent my values. I am horrified by what I've seen. I stand with Isaiah Harrington and Desmond Carter. I have donated to Desmond's GoFundMe. What my father did was wrong. I am committed to being better. Harold reads it 17 times, each word a knife. Barbara shows him the post that evening. Your own son had to denounce you publicly to save his job. I know, because of you. I know. Do you, Harold? Do you really understand what you've done? He doesn't answer. The silence stretches. Barbara climbs the stairs to the guest room. Doesn't look back. Harold sits alone. No allies, no defenders, no son. One phone call. Everything lost. The next morning, Barbara takes her rings off, sets them on the kitchen counter, and starts making phone calls of her own. The separation filing appears in county records that afternoon. Public record, easily searchable. Barbara Brennan versus Harold Brennan. Irreconcilable differences. 35 years of marriage. Ended with a document and a filing fee. Harold learns about it from a news alert, not from his wife. From a reporter who found the filing before he did. Barbara releases a statement through her attorney. I loved Harold for 35 years. But the man in those videos is not the man I married. I cannot in good conscience remain associated with someone who has caused such profound harm to so many people. I stand with the victims of my husband's actions, including Desmond Carter, to whom I have personally apologized and offered support. Harold reads his wife's public denunciation from the kitchen table, where they ate 35 years of breakfast together. The kitchen that feels like a museum now. Artifacts of a life that no longer exists. Barbara took most of her things the night before, while Harold sat frozen in the living room. She didn't explain. Didn't argue. Just packed boxes, loaded her car, and drove to her sister's house, without a word. The house echoes. Harold hasn't shaved in days. Same clothes for 3. The takeout containers pile up because delivery drivers know this address now. They leave food at the curb. Don't ring the bell. He doesn't blame them. Preston Harlan won't return calls. Not that Harold has tried many times. He knows Preston blames him. Rightly so. Sandra Keller has moved temporarily to her daughter's house across town. Her real estate business is effectively dead. She's considering a career change. She's definitely considering a lawsuit against Harold. The neighborhood has rendered its verdict. Neighbors who smiled for 31 years now cross the street to avoid Harold's house. The HOA president sent a stern email about conduct standards and community values. Children are told not to ride bikes past his driveway. Harold Brennan, who spent 31 years deciding who belonged in Briarwood Estates, has been declared an outsider. The irony is perfect and lost on no one. Meanwhile, Desmond Carter's GoFundMe passes $300,000, enough to cover his medical debt, enough to hire full-time care, enough to imagine a future again. Brian Brennan's donation is listed publicly. Isaiah Harrington donated too. Anonymously, but people figured it out. Of course they did. Isaiah Harrington still lives in his house, still drives his Cullinan, still waves to neighbors who wave back, more enthusiastically now. He has become a symbol, not by choice, by circumstance. The next evening, the HOA president sends another email to everyone. Emergency HOA meeting. Thursday, 7 p.m., Community Center. Agenda, membership review, and community standards. Everyone knows what this means. Everyone knows whose membership is under review. Harold reads the email on his phone. Alone in his empty kitchen, his empty house, his empty life. Thursday night. The community he protected for 31 years will vote on whether he still belongs. He already knows the answer. He's known since the day he sat on his floor and felt the regret crash over him. But tomorrow it becomes official. Tomorrow, Briarwood Estates makes it unanimous. Thursday, 7 p.m. Harold Brennan walks into the community center alone. 89 chairs, 89 neighbors, 89 people who used to respect him. Not anymore. The Briarwood Estates Community Center normally hosts 20 people for HOA meetings. Bored retirees, concerned moms. Harold himself always in the front row. Tonight, 89 chairs all occupied, standing room only. Harold enters at 6:58 p.m. alone. Barbara isn't there. Brian isn't there. Preston didn't show. Too ashamed, Sandra stayed away. Too broken. Harold walks to an empty seat in the front row. The same seat he's occupied for 3 decades. Tonight it feels like a defendant's chair. Every head turns, every conversation stops. Trevor Hale stands at the back corner. Phone held low, streaming. Because of course he is. The HOA president calls the meeting to order. We're here tonight to discuss community standards and membership review. This pertains to resident Harold Brennan. She pauses. Mr. Brennan, would you like to address the community? Harold stands. His legs shake, but hold. I've lived here 31 years. Given my life to this neighborhood, to protecting all of you. He pauses, struggles. I made a mistake. I see that now. But I was trying to help. I was trying to keep us safe. A voice from the back. Safe from what, Harold? Another voice. Desmond Carter was 19. Another. You destroyed Preston's career. The president bangs her gavel. Order, please. Harold shrinks. I'm sorry. I'm asking for understanding, for forgiveness, for another chance. Silence. No one offers what he's asking for. Isaiah Harrington stands from the back row. The room goes absolutely still. I didn't come here for revenge. I came because I live here. My family lives here. He walks forward slowly, measured steps. Harold Brennan didn't just call the police on me. He made 7 calls over 3 years, all about black people. One of them, Desmond Carter, will never walk again. Isaiah stops, looks around the room. I'm not asking for his head. I'm asking this community a question. What do we stand for? Who belongs here? And who gets to decide? He returns to his seat, says nothing more. The president reads a letter. Desmond Carter wrote it. Couldn't attend in person. I'm 21 years old. I'll never walk again because a man decided I didn't belong on a sidewalk. I don't want Harold Brennan to suffer. I want him to understand. I lived here too. My grandmother lives 2 streets over. I was going home. And now home is a wheelchair. Please make sure no one else has to become me. Someone is crying softly. Several people. The president clears her throat. Motion on the floor. Remove Harold Brennan from all HOA positions and recommend he seek alternative living arrangements. Pause. All in favor? Every hand rises. 89 hands. Opposed? Silence. Not a single hand. The motion passes unanimously. Harold stands. No one meets his eyes. He walks to the exit. Passes 89 neighbors. Passes 31 years. Outside, the night air is warm. Georgia summer. Familiar. But nothing feels familiar anymore. By the next morning, a for sale sign appears on Harold Brennan's lawn. The realtor, not Sandra Keller. The sign goes up, priced below market. Harold needs it gone fast. 3 weeks later, a black family from out of town buys it. 3 kids, golden retriever. The father is an engineer. The mother teaches middle school. The irony requires no explanation. Harold moves to Florida, lives with his sister temporarily, plans uncertain, future unclear. Preston. Harlan finds work eventually, different state, lower position, smaller life. Sandra. Keller pivots to property management, leaves real estate, leaves Briarwood, leaves Georgia. 3 neighbors, 3 destroyed lives. 1 phone call that started it all. Desmond Carter uses his GoFundMe for medical care, a specialized wheelchair and a scholarship fund for students with disabilities. He speaks at community events now. Something good came from something terrible. Barbara Brennan's divorce finalizes 6 months later. She keeps her dignity. Harold keeps his regret. Brian Brennan survives at Whitfield, transferred to a different division, distant from his father perhaps forever. And Isaiah Harrington. He pulls into his driveway on a Saturday afternoon. The Cullinan catches the Georgia sun. Maya runs out to meet him. "Daddy's home." He lifts her, holds her, looks across the street. The new family waves. He waves back. No sirens, no suspicion, no fear. Just home. Finally. Just home. 3 neighbors made one choice. They thought they were protecting something. They were only exposing themselves. Karma doesn't always wait for courtrooms. Sometimes it arrives in 4K with good audio and a countdown no one can stop. If you've ever been judged before you spoke, or watched someone learn exactly who they messed with, drop a comment below. What would you do if this happened in your neighborhood? Subscribe for more stories where karma delivers. Share this video, because somewhere right now, another Harold Brennan is watching from his window. Make sure he knows what's coming.